Creative Mornings team, everybody who put this together. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, give your clap. This is not usually what I do. So I'm just gonna let you know, like, this is not something that's gonna be polished and like, it's just gonna be me. So allow me to be myself. So when Joel, what he was just saying, when he called me to talk about this talk, he was like, hey, we want you to come talk. The topic's on change. I'm like, perfect. Like, my life has been filled with change the last 2 years. I can speak to that. I'm good. He's like, okay, perfect. I'm gonna send you this email. It's kind of long. Don't get too overwhelmed. I was like, all right, whatever. Get off the phone. He sends me this email, and it's very long. And I'm like, it's got like bullet points and bold letters and like italics, and I mean, it's a lot. So at that point, I'm like, what did I just get myself into? Like, I don't really know. So I'm reading, and I see the topics change, and there's all these things I need to do, which a deck is one of those things. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. So I start thinking like, change. I want to think something really deep. Like, I want them to be thinking. I want something that's going to be thought-provoking. Like, I need to come up with something new about change that I can tell these people that's going to blow their minds. Right, exactly. Laughing, of course, yeah. So for like a week, I'm doing that until our next check-in point. So there's like 2 check-in points. Joel's like, I'll check in with you in a week, see how you're doing, and then we'll do another check-in like before the talk. So this whole time, that whole week, I'm like asking people like, what's your thought on change? Like, what does change mean to you? Trying to just gauge people's, thoughts on change, and trying to just get something that I can share with you all that will kind of, you will leave here and feel like, oh, I'd never heard that before. So I'm asking all these things, and I think I got it, and I'm like, I'm gonna start back from, before we're even into the world, we're changing in our mother's bellies, and, it's like, yeah, so that's where I'm thinking, like, in my head, and so when our checkpoint comes the first week, I'm like, perfect, I got it. He's gonna love this. This is gonna be great. So I start telling Joel, like, yeah, so I'm gonna talk about how, we're changing even before we're born and all this other stuff. And I go through my whole spiel, and Joel's kind of like, yeah, that's cool, but how about you just start with like, this is my story, and go from there. And I'm like, really? That's it? Like, he's like, yeah, just be yourself, dude. Just tell your story. I was like, okay, so much better. Weight lifted off my shoulders. I was like stressing out about it, and he was like, dude, just be yourself. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tell you my story, and throughout my story, hopefully you'll be able to see the change. I'm gonna point out the changes that have kind of brought me here in front of you all. So let's get started. Where am I at on time? That's another thing. So this is like, I put a lot of photos in, so I don't have to talk as much, but it might backfire on me. So we'll see. So we're good. All right. First of all, I am Gary Williams. I'm a photographer, director, and co-founder of a content marketing agency here in DC. My business partner, Taman's right there. Just got married. Congratulations, by the way. So let's get started with my story. This is me, 2007. That's terrible. Thank God for change. And I'm done. Okay. So 2007. I was fresh out of college and at a government contracting company doing graphic design. So a little background, I went to school for multimedia arts and graphic design. So I have a broad knowledge in photography, film, editing, pretty much everything that has to do with digital media and things of that nature, and graphic design. I got out of college, I got a job doing graphic design, which it wasn't my strong point, but I got a job. So, parents were like, hey, that's good. It's a government job. Like, you're doing good. So I was like, cool. This is great. I got benefits, pay every 2 weeks. I was loving it. It was an easy job. I don't know if any of you work for the government, but no shade, but I'm just saying, it was more like paint by numbers for a graphic designer. It's literally like, you're working with red, blue, gray, maybe some green in there if you're getting crazy. Like, some government workers or people that work for the government know. It's very easy. I could have done it in my sleep, and in fact, I probably did some work in my sleep. So I'm here. So I'm going to tell you how I got from this guy sitting at a desk to this guy sitting on the top of a cliff in South Africa taking photo with my iPhone there. And so this clicker better work. We're back to this guy, and let's move on. Okay, so while I'm at major key, so if you see this, if you see the key, I'm a DJ Khaled fan on Snapchat, so you see this key, this is a major point in my life, all right? So I'm at this job, right? I'm at this government job. I'm there for almost 7 years. I'm working, I'm doing photography for the government. I'm like taking pictures of like training exercises. Yeah. Like award banquets. It's bad, but it's what I do. It's my job, it's paying me, I got benefits. But on the side, I'm doing, of course, like wedding photography and all that stuff that you do, you know, maternity shoots and just going out and shooting with friends and things like that. And then a coworker of mine, this is his best friend, and he was like, hey, I got a buddy who's a wedding photographer. He's pretty, you know, established. He does great work, looking for a second shooter. I'm like, cool, I'll do it. I needed some more experience. He was good. I loved his work. I wanted to learn. So we meet up. He's like, hey, dude, yeah, your work's good. I'd love to. You can come out, mentor you, yada, yada. So this is my mentor, Melvin. He takes me under his wing. I'm talking fast just because of like 30 minutes. I got like 200 slides. So he takes me under his wing, and I'm going out with him, shooting. I'm doing engagement shoots and things like that. And he's like, he was the first guy that was kind of like, dude, you got an eye. Like, you can really do this. This is good. I'm like, oh, okay. So that goes on. So he's a major key, Melvin. I wish he was here. I invited him, but that's that. So, did that jump? Let me see. Okay, so during that time, Instagram is starting to be a thing. You know, this is actually my first Instagram post, March 6, 2011. That is terrible. But that's back when it was like iPhone only, where like when people were like, yo, iPhone only. I took this on my iPhone. It was a big thing, like if you could do a good photo with only your iPhone. Now it's everybody's DSLR. Game's changed. But anyway, so 2011, I get on Instagram. I'm doing my thing on the side, you know, still doing wedding photography, not thinking too much like that Instagram is going to be this big thing that it is now. Just created an account. My username is Master Williams because when I created my account, I was watching Fresh Prince and Jeffrey calls the butler Master Williams. So everybody always asks me like, oh, where'd you get your username? And I'm like, I was really watching Fresh Prince. It's nothing deep. They're like, you're a master of photography? I'm like, no, I was watching Fresh Prince. Had I known I would be Master Williams, quote unquote, today, maybe I would have picked something else. But it sticks. It's nice, whatever. Anyway, so I get on Instagram, you know, I'm doing my thing, like not really thinking too much of it because it's not what it is today. And I'm taking the worst pictures ever. As you can see, this is my feed in 2011. And I have not erased these. You can go back and see my growth on Instagram if you want to. And so I'm doing these photos and like, you see, it's like terrible. The filters, like, that's my grandma. It's just like, you don't know what this thing here in the middle is, like a shoe, that's terrible. Like, thought I was stylish, like it's just bad, and it gets worse. So, you know, as the time goes on, my eyes developing, new apps are coming out, VSEO and things like that, editing apps. So, you know, it's getting better on the gram. Upgrade, hello. And so, 2013, my feed is looking like this. Same thing, I'm still at my 9 to 5, I'm still doing side stuff, I'm still, you know, hustling with the wedding photography, doing wedding films, you know, engagement shoots, baby shoots, you name it, I was doing it just to stay creative and active in that realm. The clicker, major key, new job alert. No, anyway, so this is Locular. So this was the first company that contacted me and said, we want you to come shoot for us. Joa, and I had like maybe 4,000 followers at the time. Joa is the CEO of Locular. He contacts me via comments on my Instagram, and he's like, hey, dude, love your work. I hit him back, of course, thanks, love what you're doing over at Locular. And he's like, then I get an email from him. He's like, hey, we'd love for you to come and shoot for us in LA. Real quick, little background on Locular. Locular is like the new age Yelp. Check it out, it's an app, shameless plug. Anyway, so he's like, hey, I want you to come shoot for us in LA. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I want you to come shoot for us in LA. So immediately, like, I'm like, cool, yeah, I'll do it, yada, yada, yada. So he was the first guy who really showed me that, this was a thing. People were getting paid to kind of create this content for social media, digital media. So he's a major key. At that time, I was still like at my 9 to 5, not really thinking like I'm going to be on my own soon, or I'm going to have my own business, or I'm going to do my photography, full time. Still, it wasn't a thing in my head that that's what I even wanted to do. I would have loved to do it, but it was like, how does that happen? I know a lot of photographers who have, like my mentor, he has a job. I think he does real estate, and then he does his photography on the side. And so most people do that. When you're a photographer, there's not many who are doing it full time, So I was not really thinking like, I'm gonna do this full time. Just when these things came up, I was like, this is great. I'll do one thing, and maybe something will come up later again. Just not really thinking full time. So, clicker. Oh, back. Anyway, so he sends me to LA, and while I'm in LA, I'm killing the shots for him. He's like sending me all these emails like, oh, I love your stuff. Like, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. And while I'm in LA, I'm still at like close to 5,000 followers. Instagram features me. They don't have this feature anymore, the suggested user page. But they put me on their suggested user page. They sent me an email like, hey, we love your stuff. Just to let you know, we're going to put you on our suggested user page. This means you're going to get an influx of followers in the next 2 weeks. So I'm like, what's an influx? And they're like, oh, just, expect your numbers to go up. You might want to turn your notifications off. So he's like, alrighty. So I didn't turn my notifications off. And so I'm in LA and I'm shooting and my phone is going nuts. And I'm like, what is going on? I look at my phone and literally like I couldn't even like slide the phone left because it was just like, and so I was like, he was right, I should have turned my phone off, my notifications. But anyway, so I went from like 5,000 followers to like 22,000 in like a week and a half. It was crazy. Major key though, that's major key right here. So that was nuts. So, and once that happens, things get crazy. Your inbox is full of, dude, can you put my shirt on, take a picture? Or like, we want to send you some socks, or, it just gets nuts. So it's you got to filter out all kinds of stuff. But that was a major key as far as my career, and you'll see. After that happens, I get a friend of mine knows Solange. It's actually a guy that I was working with at the time. And he's like, hey, Solange has this trunk show thing she's doing for her album release. She wants people to come down and kind of cover it socially and do some video. So he's like, I told her we could do it. I'm like, cool, I'm down with that. Again, still at my 9 to 5, like just taking cool gigs, not thinking anything of it. So we do it. I take this picture. This is in New York, her album release. I take this picture and post it. She posts it, and then major key, Beyonce. Right. Yeah. I literally could have put this slide up and dropped the mic and walked off, but I was like, no, but this, like, literally that face was my face. So she didn't tag me. 2 things about this. She didn't tag me. Her sister did. She didn't, so I was a little upset about that. And then she put a filter on it. Right. Anybody else, like when I do photos for clients, one of my things is, listen, I'm giving you the photo the way you should post it. Do not put a filter on it. Like, she put a filter on it, but again, she wasn't my client. Solange was. Solange didn't filter it. Beyonce filtered it. If anybody knows Beyonce, I'm still trying to talk to her about this filter. So anyway, Beyonce tweets it, and it's like, all my friends are like, yo, Beyonce, you texted me, Beyonce tweeted your photo, yada, yada. She didn't give you no photo credit, she whack, yada, yada. I'm like, the fact that you know it's my photo is all I need. Like, so that was a huge moment for me, as far as, social media and things like that. Next. Dun-dun-dun. So this is April. Jonica's here. She's probably gonna be like, why did he put that picture up? Anyway, April 2014. I'm still at my 9 to 5. I skipped a little bit, but just needless to say, during the 7 years or the 6 years I was at my job, things just steadily declined. It was a government contractor, so if you don't have a contract, you don't have a job. So they're losing contracts. Like the first 3 years were great, 4 years were great, 5 years were great, and then they lost their major contract. So layoffs come. I survived like all the layoffs until the end. But at this time, April 2014, it was pretty bad, and I could kind of see the writing on the wall coming. And they came to me and they're like, hey, you probably got like 2 weeks or so, and we're gonna have to lay you off. It's just getting too bad. And to this day, the company's pretty much done. For now, I can't believe they're still open. But anyway, so that happens. They tell me that they're gonna lay me off. I don't know exactly what the date is, but I'm not like worried about it, whatever. It's gonna happen. So here we are, April 2014. The Doc 5 has the Thread event, and I'm there shooting, and I meet Jonica. She's right. Where's the laser pointer on this thing? There it is. She's there, and she's in the audience somewhere. Anyway, so Jonica is kind of the person, major key. I always wanted to travel. Love photography. Would love to travel and take pictures. Who doesn't want to do that? You ask any photographer, like, I would love to travel and take pictures and be paid for it. Like, duh, that's what we want to do, right? So Jonica was kind of the one who kind of opened up opportunity for me to travel. The reason the plug's up there is because Jonica knows everybody, like everybody. And so she kind of knew the ways to kind of get me out there and traveling internationally, not just, locally and things like that. So that's a major key, and she's like my sister now. We were like brother and sister. She's great. I'm trying to think where am I at, babe? Halfway, okay, good. Anyway, so just since we're halfway, I can talk a little bit more about the job. So the job, I'm at the job, it's declining. And, this whole time I'm still, like I said, I'm doing my side work. I'm doing all that photography stuff on the side. Things are starting to pick up a little bit. Instagram kind of boosted me a little bit, so people are contacting me, yada, yada, yada. I'm doing some cool stuff like salons, still doing some cool projects here and there. Still not really thinking about full-time photography. Just, wasn't necessarily, it's like, yeah, I'm going to do this. But people were telling me like, yo, what are you doing? You should have quit like a year ago. People always tell you when they got a job, like, yo, you should quit. Really? Yeah, I'm like, it's easier said than done. Like, yo, but everybody, like my friends are like, they're telling me like, you got the talent, dude, you should quit. Even my mentor, he's like, listen, dude, you can do this, don't worry, you're gonna be fine, you can do it. Easier said than done. Trust me, I wanted to quit so many times, but them benefits and that paycheck every 2 weeks had a hold on me, That's all I knew. For 6 years, that's all I knew was benefits, paycheck, security, you think, right? So that happens. I meet Jonica. Our conversation literally was like this. I didn't know Jonica, but she knew me. So I go, hey, I'm Gary. She's like, I know you. I'm like, what? I told you, Jonica knows everybody. She's, oh, yeah, Instagram, yeah. We have mutual friends. She knew Joa from Locular. And she's like, yeah, you know my buddy Joa. And I'm like, what? This is crazy. But she's like, yeah, we're going to Montreal in May. You're coming. And I was like, what? So that was our initial conversation, literally. She was like, you're coming to Montreal. And that was probably one of my first international, if you call that international, it's over the line, international trips. But we went to this creative kind of conference thing that was pretty cool. And while I was there, she got me a gig working for Bevel. Bevel is like a shaving tool for African-American black people, okay? It's politically correct, black people, right? Anyway, so she gets me a job there. I shoot Marcus Troy. I don't know if any of you know Marcus Troy. I shoot Marcus Troy for Bevel. And again, like all these things are kind of, down the line, they're kind of reaffirming like, you have the talent, like you can do this. Like I'm getting job and job, but still I'm just thinking these are cool things. I don't know if I can make a living doing it. Like I would love to, but I don't know. I'm still not thinking full-time photography. Layoffs, major key. This is from Office Space, if anybody of you know that. But so the layoffs come, and this was, I just looked, this was April 18th, 2013, I think, 2014. So I get this guy, who almost looks like him on the left, comes in my office, and he's, you're right. He looks very similar, and he's telling me all this stuff, like why he can't keep me, and yada, yada, yada. So that happens. I tell all my friends, I'm telling my family, my friends. Every one of them are like, it's about time, good. Like, what? They just laid me off. Like, and everybody's like, that's great, that's what you need, like, good. Everybody's excited. I'm not mad, but I'm just like, a little sympathy here, like, just a little bit, and everybody's super excited for me. So that happens, they lay me off, but the good thing about this is they gave me 3 months severance. Right, that's what I said. And they had never done that before in the company. At least that's what he told me, but I don't quite believe him. So I'm like, okay, this is perfect. Like 3 months severance, things are picking up. Let me see if I can make this happen like on my own. And so my dad's a pastor, so he's automatically like, oh, we gonna pray. You putting in monster, you doing USA jobs, you looking for jobs, your resume up to date. I'm like, I don't think I'm going that way, Dad. He's like, well, what you gonna do? I was like, I'm trying to take this photography thing, full time. And he just, he's old school. He's like, I don't know if that's gonna work. But I was like, 3 months, give me 3 months. If it doesn't work, I'll go back and get a job. Next slide. Oops. Oh, bring it back. Somebody help me out. Major key. Make sure I didn't skip a slide. Yeah, so major key. I get laid off. Uh-oh. Okay, maybe hopefully that stays up there. Okay, I get laid off, and maybe, and this guy, so Danny, I used to play basketball with Danny while I was working my 9 to 5. We would do like Monday nights, play basketball at a local high school, whatever. So that's where I met Danny. Danny had moved to New York, or to Charlotte, to work at an agency, a pretty big PR agency. So he calls me 2 months later, I believe, and he's like, hey, we need somebody to come shoot this Drakkar campaign for us, and I put your name in the hat. I was like, okay, cool. Like, what's it about? So he's like, well, we'll be shooting Cam Newton, and we need you to be the creative director, but we need video, we need photos, we need the whole gamut. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of crazy, but of course I'm going to take it. So I took it. Major key, okay? Danny is a major key throughout my whole story here. So this is my first real gig outside of my 9 to 5, okay? And this is what I had to do. So 60-second campaign video, 30-second campaign video, another 30-second foundation video, 6-second, they called them camgrams, they were terrible, 6-second vines, and then 15 seconds, another 3 15-second videos, then the football field B-roll, stills, 20, it's a lot, right? So I had to hire 7 people. Reggie's one of those people that came with me. He's another photographer. But I had to hire pretty much a whole production team right off the bat. It was just me. But I had, through my work, my side work, I had, met Reggie and met other artists and people, photographers and filmmakers that could help me out. And came together. So this is a shot of us working with Cam Newton at the Loyola field. It's my buddy Stan. So I put this whole team together for this thing, and it went great. As you can see, this is the full production. They wanted to shoot this. First of all, let me tell you, they wanted to shoot this on a Red. I don't know if everybody knows what a Red is, but it's like this, they shoot movies with Reds. And I'm like, dude, you're doing social media content. You don't need a Red. But the underlying client was L'Oreal, so they're like, oh, we got to do it big. We need the Red. I'm like, it's going on Instagram. You can shoot this. You could probably shoot it with your iPhone, but we'll do C100s for you just to make you feel better. But anyway, so we shoot these on C100s. Everything goes well. The client's there. L'Oreal's there. The agency's there. Everybody loves it, right? We leave that day. We're feeling so good. Oh, go back. We're feeling so good, and then the post work comes. We do the first rough cuts. We send it out. Send it to the agency sends it to L'Oreal. L'Oreal comes back, this is terrible. Yeah, I'm like, what's was terrible. You were there. First of all, you were there. We had 2 big monitors for you to see what we were shooting. You need to tell me it was terrible. We don't like the color. We don't like what they say. We don't like the furniture. You pick the location. Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, so they switched up on us, the whole thing. They changed everything. They said they didn't like any of the stuff we did. After we told them, okay, just let us color correct it, make it final and see what you say after that. Did all of that. They hated it. Just to let you know, this campaign never made it live. Right. But I still got paid, so we're good. Right. So it wasn't my fault. But anyways, this was the first major campaign. So this campaign kind of really solidified for me, like, this is something you can do. This is something that, you could make a living out of. So I was stoked coming off this kit. Even though it didn't really go like I wanted to, I did a great job. The agency that I was working with said I did an excellent job. L'Oreal didn't like it, whatever. It's good for my portfolio. After this, again, Danny calls me, maybe 2 months later. I got another campaign for you. It's with Dick's Sporting Goods. This campaign was probably one of my favorite campaigns that I've done so far. So this was called Hell Week. Basically, we spent 2 weeks and we drove a RV from Texas all the way to Philly, stopping at a different high school every day to capture their two-a-day practices. It was crazy. Literally, I'm getting out of RVs, going onto the football field or soccer field, whatever it is. I'm getting inside the practices. This is not like I have a 400 millimeter lens and I'm on the side shooting. No, I'm literally lining up next to these linebackers and like college-bound high school players, and this is the South. So these boys are like, you said you're 16? Yeah, I don't believe it. Right. So they're huge, but they didn't want that. They wanted to be authentic. They wanted the content to feel like it was real and you were there, not some 400 millimeter lens catching it from deep. So I literally had my 24 millimeter lens and I'm sitting there lining up next to these linebackers. I'm right by the quarterback. I'm in their face shooting, trying not to get hit. And here are some of the images. As you can see, like I'm lining up next to these guys. I'm in their face. Some images from, this is Philly. I'm just gonna run through these. Super dope campaign. Like this was like incredible. Just being able, and they gave me kind of full creativity. I did all the treatments on the photos, everything, the look, feel. They just kind of let me run with it. It was just like an awesome campaign. And this campaign, I said the last campaign sort of solidified it or started to solidify. This campaign solidified it for me that I was done. I wasn't going back to my 9-to-5 or a 9-to-5 ever. This campaign here, what solidified for me, I'm not going to brag, but the payment for this campaign was close to my salary that I was getting paid at the government. So I was like, what? Right, I had no idea people were dumping money into the social content. It had just started, right? So this is what I'm doing. More images. Again, all this stuff is shot on a 24 millimeter, and I'm like right in there. Ding, 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 another. Danny, again, he calls me again. I'm like, it's gotta be something good. Danny's calling me. So, calls me again about Timex. He's like, hey, we're doing this campaign. Reggie was with me on this. 5 minutes, I'm gonna wrap it up. I got you. Thank you. So I'll run through this real quick. This was 22 cities, 22 days. Literally driving each city every day, shooting this like worldwide race thing for Timex just to get content and just to market the content socially. So I'll run through these images. Oops, I'm going backwards. Nope. Here we go. I'll run through these images. Come on. All right. Literally, these are not pose shots. I'm not stopping anybody. Like, these are all, that's a pose shot, but that's a pose shot. I just lied. That's terrible. These are not pose shots. Okay, back. Go back. One more. All right, anyway, So I'm doing all this work. I'm getting pretty good money. I'm like, I want to travel. Again, Jonica's like, she hits me up. There's a flight deal to Kenya. Kenya wasn't even like, I'm thinking, let's go to Hawaii. Let's go to, somewhere warm, hot, tropical. Kenya. She's like, flight deal to Kenya was something dumb, like $200 round trip. I was like, fine, let's do it. I don't have a job. I technically don't have a job. Let's do it. So I went to Kenya. And this is when I knew how big Instagram was. I get to Kenya, I'm Instagramming from Kenya, and then this guy, this guy DMs me. He's like, oh, we love you here in Kenya. You gotta come out and shoot with us. I was like, what? Kenya? Like, how do you know about me in Kenya? So I DM him back. He's like, come shoot with us Saturday morning around Kenya. I go out there, and it's all these Instagrammers from Kenya show up, and they're just like, oh, we love your work. Like, you're so awesome. You're inspirational. Overwhelming. Like, that was nuts for me. And all of these guys are like super creative. Instagram feeds are amazing. If I could, I would have put all their feeds up there, but if you need them, I'll tell them to you afterwards. Anyway, so I'm shooting with these. She's super dope. I forget her name, but I'll tell you afterwards. But her photos are crazy. So I'm shooting. Come on. Another Instagrammer, and this just the alley shot, and that's her again. This is, so we flew to the coast for our last weekend in Kenya, and this is in Mombasa, a place called Diani Beach. So what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm getting this work, and then, with the money, I'm traveling, because that's what I always want to do. Photos, travel, that's what we want to do. So I'm doing it, right? Living life, it's amazing, more photos, Kenya, that was kind of quick. These guys were like, the guys that stand outside the resort, and they, barter and things like that. So I went to talk to them, super cool guys. I was like, guys, just take me to your village. Like, I want to see, like, a little bit different side than this plush resort. And they took me. So they were super nice, and they walked me through their village. That light is just not in a good space, but you get the point. So, yeah, they're like hamming it up for the cameras, like super happy. They don't have much, but the fact that they were just super elated, like they weren't down, they weren't like, telling me sob stories. They just seemed really happy, and that was very like motivational for me and humbling at the same time. This is a woman who's just gathering stuff, and her baby, of course, is on her back. And then I come back from that, I go to Coachella. Major key. This is Danny again, major key, right? So let me just click through these. I'm doing social for NRG and BMW i3 for this campaign. Again, all social media. And then, come on. Concert, and then boom. Kylie Jenner, and what's the other chicks? Kendall, sorry. Kylie and Kendall. So I get this shot, right? I'm usually up on that too. But anyway, Kylie and Kendall, I see this huge crowd coming. I'm just walking around, I see this huge crowd coming, and I'm like, who is this? So I just shoot. I don't know who it is. I just shoot. And I snap this. And I look at it, and I'm like, wait, that's Kylie and Kendall. My camera has Wi-Fi. Get it to my phone. I post it immediately, right? Guess who sees it? Kylie. Kylie takes it, posts it. And so I'm like, that's nuts. Again, all my friends are like, yo, did you see Kylie posted your photo? And I'm like, yeah, she didn't give me no photo credit. Real talk, like, she didn't give me no photo credit. But she didn't put a filter on it. So I was like, let her slide, right? Let her slide. But this photo made it to E! News and a couple other like big TV publications, which I thought was pretty cool, even though she didn't give me photo credit. Then I do Fashion Week stuff. I'm just gonna run through this because I'm probably low on my time. Bunch of Fashion Week stuff. I did this for Kenton Magazine. That wasn't Danny. This isn't Danny. Nike calls me. I get an email from Nike. This is probably my favorite campaign just because it's basketball. I played basketball in college. I'm a basketball fan. I'm a LeBron fan. So Nike calls me. I'm like, whatever you want, I'll do it. I don't care. You can pay me pennies. I didn't say that, but I was just like, whatever it is, yes, I'll do it. So the academy is like, they bring all the best Nike brand ambassadors, basketball players out to this huge airplane hangar in Santa Monica, and they bring all the best high school and college basketball players out, and you train with James Harden, you train with Kevin Durant, you train with LeBron James. And so they needed social media content, real-time stuff, really authentic stuff. So they flew me and 13th Witness, he's a really big popular Instagrammer, then another guy from like France out. I was low on the totem pole. 13th Witness has like 500,000 followers, so he doesn't even talk to me. I said like, yo, I like your stuff. He was just like, I was like, all right, whatever. So, come on. I'm just gonna run through some photos from here. So, just running through some photos. This is all like, again, I'm shooting this on my 24 so I can just really get in there, snap these shots. Most of these shots made it to the Nike feed. James Harden, who's not with Nike anymore, Kobe Bryant, and then this photo goes viral. So Nike posts this, LeBron posts this, and it was a big deal because you don't really see basketball players doing yoga, and that's like part of LeBron's thing. He does yoga. So they had him come out on the beach, and I was one of the only photographers out there. So 13 Witness, cool story, I'll tell you, just a sidebar. 13 Witness, who has like 500,000 followers, maybe more now, then the other dude had like 100,000 followers. They kept leaving the premises, and Nike would be like, yo, where are they at? What are they doing? But they were like arrogant, they didn't care, whatever. I was there. If I wasn't there when they needed somebody to shoot this, I wouldn't have been here for this shot. They weren't there, I was there. They picked me, I got this shot. Be a good person. You go to a job, stay at the job, show up, you know, like, listen, I'm serious, like, that's a big thing. Like, most people are like, yo, how'd you get to where you're at? And people always ask me for advice. Nobody has an ABC, this is how you do it, you know? It's really about being a good person, being responsible, showing up on time, doing what you're supposed to do, sometimes going the extra mile. You know, it's really about that. So just keep that in mind. Like, it's a big, major key. I'm going to keep saying that. Then I go on this trip with El Camino, Richard Poor, which is like, El Camino is based in DC. If you all know Catalina, she's amazing. So she put this together with Richard Poor, and it's like, they just flew a bunch of influencers out to get this authentic experience in Medellin, Colombia. They call it the honest hustle. So we were there exploring like entrepreneurs and other creatives in Medellin, Colombia, just really getting into the culture and learning about Medellin. All I knew was Narcos from Netflix, so I was like, this should be pretty cool. It's nothing like that now. It's changed, and if you get a chance, you should go. Maybe wait till the Zika dies down, but you should go. So I'm here, I'm taking photos. It's, Medellin is amazing. I'll tell you more afterwards, but if you want to know more, I got to run through this a little fast. I'm sure I'm over time. So these are some photos, some portraits of the hustlers. Then these all made jewelry, amazing, beautiful jewelry by hand, incredible process to watch. I go to South Africa, another vacation thing. Again, I'm just traveling because I can, you know, just doing it. Just living life, traveling because I can. And so South Africa comes, I go to South Africa, Bocap, this is like this Lion's Head mountain, which me and my girlfriend at the time end up hiking, and there I am at the top of Lion's Head, which was maybe a month ago, in February, right? Where are we at, February? And that brings me to here, there's my girlfriend, who is here, who is now fiance. So, quick story. This photo, the Kenya trip I just showed you, this is the first photo that I took of my now fiance. I met her in Kenya on my Kenya trip. Crazy, right? She was there with a friend that knew a friend that we were with, and our friend invited her and her friend up to our resort, and so I met her on that Kenya trip, on that beach there, and that is the first photo I took of her. And that got us to here. So, major key. And so, again, I'm there. That just happened like last week, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's only what, 2 weeks new? Yeah, 2 weeks. It's just crazy how things work, right? And then now we're here to where I have my own business. So to sum this all up, I know I went over and I probably skipped through a lot. The change for me was, of course, getting laid off. That was the major change in my life. Not knowing what was going to happen, not knowing, exactly what I was going to do, but just knew that I wanted to try my hand at this photography thing. Going to give it a go, right? So I did it. And so my thing is, and I was looking for like quotes and things to kind of end on, and all that fancy stuff. And I was out shooting with a client, Louisa, yesterday, who was Nico and Ava. You guys should look them, dope kids clothing. Anyway, and I'm like, yeah, I got this talk tomorrow, and her and her husband are like, don't overthink it. Like, change is really the only thing that's constant, which is a quote that I found out. So I Googled it, and it is a quote. But at that time, like, I hadn't heard it before, which was crazy, but it made sense. Change is the only thing that's really constant. Change, you can't control it. Whether you fear it, whether you embrace it, it's gonna happen regardless. I chose to embrace the change that was happening in my life. I didn't know where it was gonna take me, had no clue, but I knew that I wanted to make a concentrated effort to try to make the photography thing work for me. It was my passion, it's what I wanted to do, and I just jumped in. I did it. Not necessarily jumped in, I had to get laid off to do it, but sometimes you need a push. Everybody doesn't work. Some people can be like, yo, I'm quitting, I'm going to do it and make it happen. Other people need a push. I needed a push. That push was me getting laid off, and it brought me to this point where I'm at, standing here with you all. So my thing to leave with you all is you never know what change will be the change that changes your life. And that's true to me. I had no idea when I got laid off that I would get any of those campaigns. I didn't know Danny was going to call me. I didn't know I was going to meet Jonica. I didn't know I was going to meet my future wife. I had no idea. But had I not embraced that, had I feared it, had I just went the safe way and looked for jobs online, I probably never would have met my wife. I probably never would have, my soon-to-be wife. I probably never would have gotten these campaigns, So everything happens for a reason, and change is nothing to necessarily be afraid of, because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. What you do with it is going to be what determines where you go and where it takes you. So if you want to know more, I skipped a lot. I was going through fast. Just come to me afterwards. I'm better one-on-one than I am with people staring at me like this. So thank you so much. Thank you. Oh.